Hello, I'm Cal. Welcome. This one I'm just going to show you some products that I use to clean up CPU and coolers, just removing the thermal paste. This is components left over from an upgrade that I made to my son's computer for Christmas for him. So I'm going to reuse these components for a retro gaming build. So if you want to watch that or follow that, make sure you like and subscribe. So the products that I use come in a kit. You get bottle number 1, which is the thermal material remover. This removes the most of the debris from the actual components, you know, the thermal paste. And then I'll follow that up with number 2 bottle, which is sort of like an alcohol type product, which like purifies the actual metal so that when you apply thermal paste in the future, it's going to have a better connection. So for these, I use these type of earbuds or cotton wool buds, and these applicators are a bit better than just the normal pointy end. That's what I found anyway. So when you actually remove your CPU, you've got to be very, very careful not to bend the pins. On a Intel CPU, going to be a little bit different, but the AMD ones, the pins are on the actual CPU themselves. On the Intel ones, I believe the pins are on the actual motherboard themselves, but be careful anyway. I always try and keep my products, so I've actually kept the box and everything which this CPU came in. So I'm just going to put it back in there for the time being, and then concentrate on the cooler first. So number 1, just apply some dots on here. And then just gently rub away all the excess thermal paste. So this is going to take quite a few different applications. You can see it's actually making progress. You might want to wear gloves to do this. You can use other materials for this. I just found for precision wise these cotton wool buds the best. If you seem to be making little or no progress, it might be worthwhile you just putting a couple of drops on and then leaving it for a little while, you know, like 10 seconds or so, or 20 seconds before you actually try and remove it. Especially if it's got a big blob of thermal paste. Just keep persevering with it, because you do want it nice and clean. The cleaner the better, because that's the better contact that you'll get and the better heat distribution, so it will cool down your CPU better. You're wondering, man, this is taking ages. Am I doing it right? Yes, you are. There we go, all nice and clean. So now we can concentrate on the CPU, and went through quite a few for that one. But there's quite a lot of residue on there, so yeah, I'm going to start on the CPU now. So with the CPU one then, because I'll be holding it in one hand, just going to take the lids off these, so I'm going to be messing about putting it down and picking it back up and possibly damaging the pins. You've got to be very careful with these. Make sure you don't bend the pins, so get a comfortable grip on it before you start, and then what we'll do, we'll get majority off with the first one. Don't put too much on because you don't want it running off the sides onto your fingers. As I say, you can put a big blob on and let it sit there for a little bit to try and break it down. If you've got big dry bits like these on the side. But just try and not let the cotton wool bud shred, because you don't want little bits of residue from cotton wool on your CPU. What you want is a nice clean connection between your CPU and thermal paste. You can more or less see what kind of CPU it is there, can't you? Right then. Sorry, silly impression. I don't know if it was an impression of, but just a silly voice then. Okay. So it's really cutting through this. But you can see that if you get back onto it, you're pushing all the dirt along. So that's why you keep replenishing your buds. So you're pushing it all over again. You just want this broken down, the big lumps broken down, so that then you can sort of scoop the liquid form off a bit better. Just make full use of both sides of your buds, and this is going to take time, so you can't really rush it because you just need it all nice and clean. Just be very, very careful. Your grip on your CPU. So with the second product then, it still seems a little bit wet. It doesn't matter because it will air dry. It's more or less like liquid alcohol, so alcohol doesn't take that much to dry off. So you can see, nice and clean CPU. You can even read the writing on. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just put it back into the case that it originally came in. And there we are, ready for reuse. Nice and clean. And all the pins are protected, look. Yeah, I went through quite a few, so persevere with this. Have a little bit of patience, because you don't want to damage anything, particularly the pins on the CPU. Don't be shy to give me a like or follow. My name's Cal. Have a good morning, afternoon, or good evening. Farewell till next time, and I'll see you later. Retro computer building, soon to come.